You're listening to Cards to the Moon, a podcast about trading cards from both a collector and investor perspective. We hope you'll stick around for the ride as we take a deep dive into the state of the hobby, share some hot takes, hopefully some useful advice, and fun stories along the way. Hey guys, welcome back to another Friday edition of Cards to the Moon. This is episode 302, and my name is Clark from 5cardguys.com. And you can also find me at 5cardguys on Instagram, YouTube, and on Facebook. Co-hosting with me, as usual, is Hyung, who is at Hyung on IG and on YouTube. But John's away this week, and of course we hope to have him back soon. But off the top for today's Friday episode, I wanted to start with something fun. I don't know if you saw Hyung, but Bobby Witt Jr. and his new KC teammate, Jac Caglianone, they have dual autograph cards coming out in the upcoming Bowman Chrome set. But these aren't your regular dual auto cards with just their autographs. They're all inscribed, right, from both Kansas City players, and they wrote their inscriptions to each other. Okay, and so I believe there are 6 different dual inscribed autos. One set is out of 5, and there's one superfractor. So 5 plus 1 equals 6. Let me read out a few to you, okay? So our listeners know what we're talking about. And it's pretty funny. Just give me a sec. All right, so I'll just read the 6 cards out to you. The first one says, from Bobby, "Can you show me your workout plan?" and then Jax wrote, "Definitely going to have to chase this in the clubhouse." Okay. Second card says, Bobby says, "You have way better handwriting than me." And Jax responds, "Can't believe they put me on a card with you." All right. Card 3, Bobby says, "Also going to be in my hands." And then Caglianone says, "This is going to be in a museum one day or eBay." And then the next one, Bobby says, "One day I'll be as big as you." And Jack wrote, "If I pull your card, you owe me this one." And then the 5 of 5 says, "What's good, Jack?" And then Jack responds, "Bob, funny seeing you here." And then the superfractor one says, from Bobby, "Congrats on the engagement. Now let's bring a ring to KC." And then Caglianone writes, "Congrats on tying the knot." So, do you think more players should be signing dual autograph cards like this?
Is it so that's out of 5, and then the superfractor, so there's 6 inscribed specifically in the
to one another.
So Bobby and Jack
coming up.
But is there other ones, or is it just that in that set?
Yeah, I think, well, the only thing that Topps is promoting is the one that's by Bobby and Jack. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. They're literally having a full-blown conversation.
Yeah.
And I think from, it's just fun. I think there's that element. I'm personally not a huge fan of inscriptions in general. I like just the clean auto, just kind of classic. But then it started getting more popular, I guess, as when we started getting into the hobby, where, you know, Acuna or Ohtani, like Showtime, he would just inscribe that. Like, I think now that they're doing it on cards, I think it brings in an element of fun, which I like. I just don't want it to be overused, if you know what I mean. And right. I feel like Fanatics is doing this strategically with guys that are in that space. They're kind of in that collectible space, so they're more willing to like participate. I know with prospects they have like My First Bowman, and then, you know, those inscriptions end up, you know, going for a little more than, or I guess a lot more than a regular one. But I think keep making sure that, you know, it's a rare item, that it's almost like a chase. And I think as those players age, if Caglianone becomes who he's supposed to become, it could be a very interesting demanded card. So I think there's a huge upside to that as well. But yeah, I just like it in general just because it has a sense of human, that these guys are human. And I think that's what fans want, is that tie in with these superstars and realizing, hey, I have this connection with, these superstars because it makes them human as well. They're just not signing a card. It's an actual inscribed card where it feels a little more personal with the collector. So I love it. I love that element to it. And I think inscriptions are a thing of the hobby. I think people, even on IPs, personal signings, if you pay for it, you could kind of pay for an inscription it would be,
sure,
it would cost the premium, right? So yeah, I'm all for it. I think it's fun in the hobby, it engages, it's great marketing. But yeah, it could be overdone if not controlled.
Yeah, I agree with you in the sense that it could be definitely overdone. I think what makes this unique is because we don't see it often. So that's what kind of makes it cool, right? And it's also, between teammates, and that's, that's part of the fun, right? Them knowing each other and kind of, they almost had to deliberately plan this out to do it this way,
But they're too nice to each other.
Yeah. Maybe that's the next evolution. You to start to rib each other a little bit more on these cards, right? But no, it's I think it's all in good fun. But to your point, if it's overdone, then the reason why there are such premiums on these inscriptions is because it makes the card more rare in that sense, right? So if you're doing it all the time, then I would expect that those values will start to decrease, inscription card values. Right. But yeah, it's all in good fun. I think it'll definitely be a chase in the Bowman Chrome set that's coming out. You kind of alluded to it, but at the end of the day, with any card that has more than one auto, both players or three players, or if it's a quad auto, if any one of those players don't perform, the value will tank, right?
Yeah, man, dual autos are very, very tough. They're very, very tough.
It's risky. Yeah, it's very risky. I mean, there was one eBay listing I think I saw on someone else's social media account, but it was Shai Gilgeous.
All right.
And then there are two other guys that really didn't make it. And then the eBay listing said triple auto card of Shai Gilgeous Alexander and two other bums. Like, that's the eBay listing. So, that's kind of you're paying for the value of the SGA auto, but
I think that's the whole thing of dual autos. Like, if you see dual autos that age, you realize, even if it's like a Jordan and Carmelo Anthony, like, people wouldn't want Carmelo Anthony on it necessarily. You know what I mean? Even though he panned out to have an amazing career, I think dual autos in general are tough unless it's like I could see like Shohei Acuna being a very demanded one in the future. But what are the odds of both players when they were prospects becoming the dude? Right? And I don't, unless it's like a MJ LeBron, like that type of dual auto where they're already made. But a lot of these are young prospects, right? And usually teammates, right? So dual autos in general, I think, are just tough. And we've talked about this on the past. It's like, would you rather have like the SGA single auto or, a triple auto with two no names? It kind of devalues the SGA auto, right?
Yeah.
So that's the only tricky part of multiple autos on one card.
Yep. But I hope Jac makes it. Bobby Witt's having a down year, but he's still, it's a respectable stats.
Down year.
If I'm going to bet,
I want to see this down year. I've been following Bobby Witt, but yeah, just not as much home runs, right? He's still
not as much home runs. He's still running.
He's still a 4-4 WAR,
his defense is stellar. His defense is stellar. Right?
31 doubles.
That helps.
31 doubles, leading the major leagues right now. Hey, I think Bobby Witt is having a phenomenal year, actually. And you know what?
Yeah.
I know his card market price is feeling this effect of having a down year, but it's not really a down year. I think he's a great buy.
I'm all in on Bobby. Don't get me wrong. Like, I hope prices go down and people kind of have this perception that it is. I mean, it's a down year relative to what he has already accomplished, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But if he came into the season as a rookie this year, we'd be like hyping him up right now. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, what, 13, 14 homers by the All-Star break with 20 plus steals. Like, we would be, you know, on his train right now. So it's all a matter of perspective, right? But I'm all in on Bobby.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our Friday discussion. And it's about eBay testing or piloting extended bidding on auctions. All right. Now, this should be more familiar to you if you've ever bid on other auction sites like Golden or even Fanatics Collect. And if you're not familiar with extended bidding on auctions, it's when at the end of the auction, if someone makes a late bid right before the auction is supposed to end, the end time gets extended by usually a few predetermined minutes, right? It could be 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. And that's to allow others an opportunity to bid on the cards. And with extended bidding, the auction officially ends when there are no bids in the final minute or two of the extended bidding time. So essentially, this should be the end of what we call sniping on eBay if this eBay pilot program becomes permanent. And sniping on eBay, of course, for all longtime hobbyists will know that it's when you make that last second bid, hoping your bid is the highest once time officially runs out. Right. Now, my question to you, Hyung, do you like eBay doing this? And do you think as a result, we might start seeing higher comps on certain cards because of extended bidding?
Well, we'll put it this way. In 2019, 2020, that was my official work title, was eBay Sniper. So as a buyer, obviously, you're not happy about this. Right. I've had great deals because of that. And I still do it. I think eBay sniping is one of the best ways to get a great deal.
I love it.
And you're at a price point anyway, so it's like, okay, if I could get this, it closes the deal in, right? That it raised the question now, will it raise comps? Probably. Will more people be left unpaid? Potentially. Right. So there's a lot of, and in general, I think it's the right way to do auctions. So as a seller, I think it's great. As a buyer, I think it's not as good for buyers, because I think buyers were using that as kind of like, oh, I love this. I bought this, you know, I sniped this at the last minute. It was a great deal. You know, I was paying attention. So there's that aspect to it. But I don't mind it if it's going to make the hobby better in general. But I think it's going to be more fair, because I think but I just don't see it like Golden does it, all these higher, but we're talking tens of thousands of dollars or thousands of dollars. Will it be as effective on $100 items, $50 items? I don't know. But I think it definitely sides with the seller at this point.
I agree. Generally speaking, it's definitely more beneficial for the seller. Can you explain what you just said a moment ago about, like, there might be more unpaid auction items?
Yeah. So, well, how does shill bidding look to make comps higher, right? So it's like these people that were participating in shill bidding before, and they go and they, you know, put a bid in, and then all of a sudden 2 minutes close and they're the winner. And is it gonna be continued unpaid?
Right.
I could see that happen. I don't think it's gonna be a big issue, but you know, I could see that happening.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. There definitely could be those instances for sure. The one thing I was thinking is, you know, I've won auctions on Golden and Fanatics Collect, and to your point, they're generally more mid to high end cards. You know, with these auctions, they don't do a lot of lower end, which eBay obviously does a much wider variety of cards from low to high end. So I agree with you. On the low end, I don't think you're gonna have extended bidding be a big thing. Like, people are gonna like those cards. And, you know, they'll probably bid early and they hope they get it at that price, and there won't be like a bidding war in the last 2 minutes of those lower end cards. It's just whether you saw the listing or not. But for the higher end cards, I think it might kind of be this similar result as what we're seeing on Golden and Fanatics Collect. And I guess that's what eBay wants, right? For them as a business, it's better for them because the higher the price goes, the higher the fee that we have to pay as a seller to just list those cards. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how it plans out. The other thing is too, with Fanatics Collect and Golden already doing this, like the comps haven't drastically changed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if it's because, and the only thing I'm cautious about is eBay could be a game changer because there are so many more people on eBay buying cards than, relatively speaking, than on Golden or on Fanatics Collect. Right. So even if you see the card on auction for Fanatics Collect, that used to be like, I always like looking at those sites because I know there aren't as many eyeballs on a certain card. And if a card pops up that I like on other sites other than eBay, I'm hoping that, I could get a good deal because there aren't just many people. But now if you bring the whole extended bidding auction to eBay, you already have the eyeballs. I wonder if that's going to cause, for some of these mid to high end cards we were just talking about, I wonder if that's going to cause some kind of frenzy bidding war. And then if that happens, of course, that's going to definitely raise comps. And if you have one of those cards, you might be happy. You're like, yes, my comp just increased for the card that I just own, right? So,
and usually eBay
a lot of
is
different ways you can take it.
eBay is usually what we comp as, and
right.
Exactly. I know that there are some low comps when you go on bids because I was a seller at one point where I'm just like, man, I just sold this at like a fraction of the comp price because bids weren't as seen. Right. So, or it was missed by a certain individual where they're like, oh man, I missed this. Right. But yeah, I think, the lower end stuff is going to be interesting. I could see it working, but like I said, I think part of the joy of eBay buying is the chase and looking for good deals. So I'm not totally happy about that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to let it ruin it. I think as a buyer, it's not as attractive.
Yeah, for sure.
And
go ahead.
No, I was going to say eBay wins at the end of the day because, they're probably bumping up 5-10% in terms of how much revenue this is actually going to bump up their line. Right. So I think it's definitely going to bump it up for sure.
Yeah. I mean, as a business, I guess it seems more of a no-brainer for eBay, but they are piloting. I don't know which cards they're testing it on now. Maybe they'll come up with a system like, the premium auctions, whatever you call the premium auctions, the higher end stuff. That's what you do the extended bidding for to make it more fair. And maybe it's not worth doing it for every card, like anything under 1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe they could do something like that. I probably prefer something like that because honestly, the rush when you win a auction by sniping, it's amazing. So for that to go away, oh man, I'm gonna miss sniping.
I think everybody snipes if they're bidding.
Yeah.
And the only time they wouldn't or they would snipe, they would put in, this is what I do, I put in a bid regardless just so that I'm in. And it gives me the notification to be able to snipe it eventually. But I think the play, like rarely do I go and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to put in my max bid and there's 2 days left. It makes zero sense. Right. So this will eliminate a lot of that, I think. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I think there should be a minimum for sure. Yeah,
I agree. Anyone from eBay listening to this podcast episode, just a consideration. Just, have a minimum amount for extended bidding auctions. And yeah, we'll see what happens. All right, that's all we got for this Friday. I know it's short and sweet, but we'll have a brand new episode for you guys on Tuesday, and it'll be definitely the full hour for that one. Okay, talk to you then. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to Cards to the Moon. We'd really appreciate you subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you can also connect with each of us on Instagram at 5cardguys, or you can follow Hyung at Integrity Sports Cards, or John at TradeU at Recess. You can also check us out at 5cardguys.com. Thanks again, and hope to connect soon.